Hi Sea Stars, it's Jessie. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to keep things very short and sweet. It is the full moon tonight and I am going to be teaching y'all how to make moon water. Now, the concept of moon water has been talked about consistently across so many different social media platforms, books, like podcasts. Every single witch seems to have a topic on moon water. And there's a really good reason for it. Moon water is extremely versatile. It is incredibly easy to make. And if you are someone that likes to work with water in your practice, it is a must know. Like, I don't think that there's any witch who loves working with water who should not know how to make moon water. Now, in its most basic form, moon water is water that is put out under the light of the moon to charge said water with the moon's properties. Now, that is the most simplified version of it. However, it gets a little bit more complicated when you start to consider exactly what you want to use your moon water for and how you actually go about making it. Now, I do have a blog post about moon water that I will link in the description below that goes over this as well. However, when making moon water, there are some things you will want to consider. Firstly, you want to consider the kind of water that you want to use in your moon water. You can make moon water out of any type of water that already exists. It can be ocean water, it can be water from your sink, it could be collected water from another place. You are essentially just charging this water, like I said, with the moon's properties, so the possibilities of the kind of water that you can use are endless. Most people, especially if you're going to be drinking this water, will find it easiest to just collect water from the tap, and that is completely fine. The next thing you want to consider is what phase you want to put your moon water out in. A lot of people like to use the full moon because the full moon's properties are extremely powerfully charged. It also gives a really nice magical boost to your workings, especially if you're on the cusp of something or you want to complete something. Full moon water can be really good for this. However, it's not the only phase that you can put moon water out in. You can make moon water in any phase of the moon. And pro tip, if you happen to miss the full moon but you really want a nice energetic kick to your spells, make sun water. It's essentially the same process that I'm going to go over in this video. So whereas the full moon might be really good for completing things, getting things done, adding a little bit of a boost into your workings, the new moon phase might be really good for starting something completely from scratch, brand new. You might use a waning moon cycle to break a bad habit. You might use a waxing moon cycle phase to give you a little bit more of a motivational kick to finish a project that you have started and are maybe kind of starting to lag behind on. Beyond the phase of the moon too, you can also work with the zodiac sign that moon phase is in. So if you're looking for like a bold, glamorous, fun night out and you want to set your makeup with moon water, you might want to do it in a moon sign of Leo. Whereas if you want to include moon water in a spell, let's say for finance, you might want to do it in the sign of Capricorn or Taurus. Now, these are all just layers that add on to the properties that moon water already gives you. And this is why it is extremely versatile, because you are not only combining the properties of the water that you're using and that attribute, you're also combining the phase of the moon that you're using it in, as well as the zodiac sign, for just a nice layered effect in one bottle for practically anything you could want to use it for. As I'm filming this, it is currently the last full moon of 2024, which means it is the cold moon in the sign of, which always has a backup moon calendar. The moon is currently in Gemini, which makes sense because we are in Sagittarius season. It normally echoes whatever sun sign or time of year that we are in the northern hemisphere. The moon sign is the exact opposite. So since we are in the sign of Sagittarius, Gemini is Sagittarius's opposite. So the only thing we're not getting this year is a full moon in Cancer, because I believe we had 2 full moons in Capricorn, so it threw off the timing a little bit, which does happen every once in a while. So, knowing that it is a full moon in the sign of Gemini, I believe we're also in Mercury retrograde right now, which actually really helps to collect full moon water in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is all about communication. Its ruling planet is Mercury. If you're struggling to perhaps get your words across like I have been this entire video, or if you have some sort of technological glitch in your life or something that you really want to work in your favor, if you want to use your words wisely, communicate effectively, then moon water in Gemini is a great way to go. And like I said, if you happen to miss the full moon, don't worry about it. If you want the same type of supercharged water, there are so many types of magical waters that you can pull from. But if you want something that is quick and easy like moon water, then you just make sun water. If you guys want more of an in-depth video or a demonstration on how to make solar water, please let me know in the comments. I would be more than happy to. So yeah, let's make some moon water. What you're going to need, a phase of the moon that you like, water of your choice, and a bottle. This is an old wine bottle. I believe it had rosé in it. Yep, it did. And I absolutely love this bottle because look at the base of it. It literally looks like a rose, and it's got a little rose here. It's also it's glass, and it does have a glass cork. I actually think this might be crystal. Before we dive in though, some really quick things about moon water and your intention with making moon water. Now, I always say the effectiveness of a spell or any kind of magical creation comes from your intent first and foremost, because you just fill up the water and you stick it under the moonlight and that was all she wrote. However, I don't think this is the most effective way to make moon water, and that is because you're not really putting your intention into it. In the past, one of the ways that people actually made moon water was by rowing out onto a lake or a pond or somewhere where you could see the moon's reflection into the water, and they would extend a cup on a like a U-shaped staff, and they would extend a cup out into the water. They would make sure that they got the boat close enough that they could get the stick out over to the water, but not so close that they would disturb the water's surface. And they would dip the cup into the moon's reflection on the water. And that had a whole ritual behind it. It was very purposeful, very intentful. And so I believe that the properties of that moon water would be very effective. Now, I'm not saying you need to get a rowboat and row out into the middle of your local lake or pond. However, it is very important that if you're making moon water, especially from the tap, that you charge it with the intent that you want in your spell, so it is the most effective for you. Another quick side note, it is best to store moon water in crystal. Now, this is more so for moon water that you collect that is made out of rain, like any kind of outside water like that, as opposed to the tap, because it does have the tendency to mold. However, if you keep it in crystal, it will prevent the molding, and you will wind up with an insane crystal decanter collection. You're welcome. Please grow it slowly over time. It can be expensive. I've never really had that issue with water just from my tap, especially in something that was already made to hold a type of water like this. If you are going to use an old wine bottle or something similar, make sure it is thoroughly rinsed and dried out before you try to collect anything else. So first thing is I'm going to fill this up with just filtered water from my fridge, and then we will go from there. All right, I am back, and I filled up my bottle just to almost the top, not quite, because I wanted to have a little bit of extra room for what we're gonna do next. I have the cap here, I'm just gonna place it to the side. Now, the way that you imbue water with intent is also a whole other topic. There's so many ways that you can do this. However, I have really learned to love humming and singing with my water to imbue it with intent. My family, the people that I live with, they know that I am a witch, so me walking around my house humming into a bottle of water is not unusual for them. However, it might be for you, and that is totally fine. You can do this. If you cannot do this in private, you could always do things like writing sigils on the outside of the bottle, or a petition or something along those lines. If you don't want to mar the bottle, if you plan to use it for another type of moon water or in something else as well, you can write a petition on a piece of paper, put that paper underneath the bottle, and then speak or leave it to charge in the moonlight as well. It's kind of like a layered thing. Moon water comes in, hits the water, bounces off the sigil, goes back into the water. That's your intent there. The point in all this being is that you want to choose a method that you are comfortable with to really will your intention into the water. That's going to make it the most effective in your spell work. I could really use some clear communication these days, so this water is going to be imbued with the intent that my words come out clear, concise, that I'm communicating effectively, that I hopefully mitigate a lot of my technical issues that I have during Mercury retrograde. And yeah. Now you can also sing and hum into your bottle in many different ways. Now I usually like to pick one word or phrase that I repeat over and over again in some kind of tone. I'll like change up the tone, I'll go high and low just to kind of imbue everything, but I like to focus it on one word. Now, picking that word is always interesting because I don't know if I want to sing communicate over and over and over again, but that is the word that I've been ruminating on since I sat down to do this video, so you might just hear me singing communicate to my bottle of water right now. Usually I try to pick something that is 1 or 2 syllables just for ease. However, I do think that communication is the focus on this, and the only other thing I can think to sing is Gemini, and I think we're gonna stick to communicate. So just so you are fully aware, I don't claim to be a singer. However, I do love to sing, even if it's not always on key. So if you would prefer to not listen, you can skip ahead maybe like 30 seconds. I don't know why this feels so awkward to do on camera. I do it by myself all the time. It's just like knowing that you're watching me is like, it's a little awkward. I'm gonna not look at the camera while I do this. So this would also be easier with something that has a wider neck, so you can really put your voice into the bottle. However, that's why I left it a little bit open-ended, so that my words can vibrate through the entirety of the jar. So yeah, let's get started. Communicate. That's so awkward. Communicate. 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 I'm gonna leave it off there and do the rest off camera because that is so awkward for me. It's basically all you want to do, and while you're doing this, really focus. What are you trying to communicate? What are you trying to push into this water? Like I said, for this full moon in particular, I wanted my words to be more clear and concise. I want my intent to come up clear. I want to kind of fight off the Mercury retrograde scaries and hopefully beat out a few tech problems that I've been experiencing recently. So effective communication and understanding will be vital for me at this point in time. Once you have this all set, your intent is imbued, you're going to put it on a windowsill in the most effective place that you can get moonlight. I know that this will really depend on your location in the world as well as where your windows are oriented and if you can get outside to actually put this outside or not. It is absolutely freezing outside and I don't want to put this out just in case I don't want the bottles to freeze. So I will be putting this by my window. I fortunately do get very good moonlight coming from my window, especially with the days being a lot clearer when it doesn't snow. So that will be going out there. And then the next thing that you're going to want to know is how to use this water once you've made it. Since I'm making this in the sign of Gemini and I want more clear, effective communication, it would make the most sense for me to drink this water, which is why I chose filtered water for my use here. You can also put a little bit of this in a bath. You could use it in scrying. You can use it in so many different ways once you have it made. And then for storing, if it is unfiltered water, even if it is filtered, I would do your best to keep it away from windows, from open sunlight. If you have a cupboard or a drawer, or even under your bed, just make sure if you have cats like me that they don't knock it around. That would be the most effective way of storing this. Please let me know if you have any video suggestions down in the comments below. I would love to answer your guys' questions and help you as much as I can along your own magical journey. With all that being said, that is it for this video. I truly hope you guys enjoyed. Please feel free to give me a like and subscribe. It gives me the motivation to keep doing this. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna go place this on my windowsill and I will see you soon. Bye, sea stars.